For most of the testimony, Trump has seemingly been practicing rehearsed indifference, doing his best to either shut his eyes or appear disinterested in what's being said by Michael Cohen. But occasionally, and this was one of those points, he does show these flashes where he seems either irritated or he disagrees. We know that in other testimony during Stormy Daniels, for example, Trump was cursing audibly, according to the judge, and the judge told his lawyer to remind him not to do that. But there are still times when he appears to mutter no or shake his head, something the jury might be able to see if they're watching closely. But here, Michael Cohen was talking about 2 phone calls he said he had with Trump about the Access Hollywood tape. The jury saw the phone records of those calls, and he said that Trump expressed to him a view that there needed to be some kind of a spin put on this. And the spin was supposed to be, Cohen said, that this just was locker room talk. And according to Cohen's testimony, Trump told him that that was a spin that Melania Trump had actually endorsed, implying perhaps for prosecutors that Trump wasn't all that concerned about what Melania Trump would think, but was rather laser focused on how this would potentially impact the campaign.
And Catherine, now you have Cohen on the stand talking about post-Access Hollywood tape. Once they're talking about Stormy Daniels, in his words, it would have been catastrophic for the campaign.
Yeah, and Brian, you were touching on this earlier. It would have been catastrophic, he's saying, for the campaign, but he's also tying together a lot of what these previous witnesses have said. He's saying in his testimony that this is a horrible day for the campaign, speaking of the story, or speaking of when that Access Hollywood tape came out. And it wasn't just the campaign. It was people from the RNC. It was his running mate, Vice President Mike Pence at the time. It was everybody around him, staffers in the Trump organization. So what the prosecution is doing here, and Brian was describing this too, is essentially tying this to the political damage that this would have done, the motivation behind making this payment, for example. So Cohen is getting into that now. I'm sure we will hear, or well, we won't hear, but we will at least have the transcript, a reading of the transcript again from that Access Hollywood tape. We know that it can't be played, the audio or the video, inside the courtroom, but we know that prosecutors have read that out loud. I'm sure that will come up again during this testimony, so we will see that happen. But again, it's really focusing on Trump and how he allegedly wanted to bury this story because he thought it would have a catastrophic effect on his presidential campaign.
And Brian, going back to Aaron's point about Melania Trump, what does it do for the argument that he was trying to protect his family? Because we heard Hope Hicks talking about making sure newspapers weren't delivered to the residents, that Trump was concerned about Melania finding out and how it would impact her. And here you have Cohen saying when the Access Hollywood tape came out, she was part of the conversations over how we were going to spin this message.
Well, it depends on how you're going to look at this from a defense, because there's the Access Hollywood tape, which is 2 men in a bus speaking, in my opinion, deplorably about what happens with women. And then you have the allegations of Stormy Daniels. In my mind, those are apples and oranges. What 2 people are saying, Melania might be on board of saying, okay, I don't like him saying this. I hope he never did it, but here's how he can spin it. I don't think Stormy Daniels is a conversation that he can that she might have been participated in and spin in. And so either you approach it as Melania was in on it for a part of it, but this was too much, and she distanced herself, or you can go out the entire way and say she was in on all of it, which I think might be a bit of a stretch, but however you want to use it.